Hello, Flosstube. This is Beth Martinez again, phantastitches. For those of you who, thank you very much for those few of you who have subscribed to my Flosstube channel, and or have viewed my Flosstube. I'm still working on the best place to sit while doing this. Right now, I'm in my green chair, and behind me, I talked about last time about the pieces that my grandmother used to crochet, and so I'm sitting on one of them. And the lighting is not great in here, but that way you can't see my messy bed. Anyway, so I wanted to do a little update now because I have all my stitching projects are for Christmas are fully finished now. So the first thing I wanted to show real quick is, before I get to that, I want to talk about a few things. I've been watching a lot of videos, and Teresa Kitten Stitcher is one I have fallen in love with, and she talks about one of the things she talked about is things she's all into, and she was talking about the tea that she liked and the music that she likes and Christmas songs that she likes and things like that. And I find myself saying yes, I like that too. So I thought I would talk about a few things that I'm into, like what tea I like, for instance, just because she made me think about it, is Earl Grey green tea, which I love. I used to drink it a lot. I used to keep a stash of it at work and drink it fairly often. And jasmine tea. Jasmine tea I like. It's not my favorite, but I like it a lot. And I used to drink more of it than I do lately. And now it always makes me think of Indiana, because when I was in school in Indiana, in Bloomington, there was a restaurant called the Dow. I don't think it exists anymore. But the Dow had, among different things that it offered, it had jasmine tea, and I would get a pot of jasmine tea, and to go with I would eat there like maybe once a month or something, because it was, for me as a college student, it was kind of expensive. But on Sunday nights, the dorm that I lived in, the graduate dorm, did not serve the evening meal on Sunday nights. So, people would typically get pizza or whatever. And so once in a while, my friends and I would save our pennies and go to the Dow and eat dinner there. I would get a crab frittata and jasmine tea. It was, whatever. So it was, one of my favorite fancy eat-out places in Bloomington. But anyway, so, and I have a cup of tea here, Starbucks, my big Starbucks mug that I got from, I want to say from I used to teach children's choir at my church. I think one of the kids gave me this. And I love it because it's big. Drinking Earl Grey green tea. And it's kind of lukewarm because I didn't let the microwave get very hot heating it up. I heat hot water in the microwave. I'm not a purist. But it got cold. It got kind of lukewarm while I was fiddling with the camera and everything. And the other thing I'm all into is Talenti gelato. They make a coffee chocolate chip flavor, and it's really, really good. It's expensive for me, so it's only an occasional indulgence, but it's really, really good. Mostly I go by the freezer section and look longingly at the Talenti and say, "Ah, Talenti." If I look at it long enough, it's almost as good as having it. So, but anyway, those are a couple of things. As far as music is concerned, I remember one time Kitten Stitcher mentioned, I think, a Sting video CD, and I that was the first time I think I commented on one of her videos, and I said, I love Sting. Sting is I've always followed his career, his music and stuff, and I used to before I moved out here, the 2 years before I moved out here, I used to drive down to Pine Bluff and teach students down there. And his CD, I used to listen obsessively to his CD, The Last Chip. I used to listen to it on the way down there and all the way. It was like a 45-minute drive or whatever to Pine Bluff from Little Rock, and so I used to listen to that CD all the time. And anyway, so just a couple of things. As far as Christmas music is concerned, Sting released a few years ago a winter sort of CD. So it had some Christmas songs, some winter songs, whatever. And some of them are kind of, not for me. But at least half of them, more than half of them, are really interesting songs. Some are old songs that he redid, and some are new songs that he wrote for this album. But it's really good. And now I can't think there's a song. Oh shoot! I can't think of any of them now. I was not prepared to talk about that. But anyway, it's a good album. It's called. Oh, what is it called? It's called On a Winter's Night. And like I said, it's really good. Anyway, so to get to the stitching right away, I did a sort of, I don't know if this is a Priscilla or Vanna finish. It's more like a Vanna finish, I guess. I took the stitching I did, the Come to the Dark Side stitching that I had showed you earlier, last time. And I mounted it on a poster board and stuck it to this little chalkboard style frame. And this is a gift for my brother-in-law's sister. And I don't know if you can see, the little individual stitches here for his, the little thing that Darth Vader has on his chest. And there's a couple of, and his, I guess his belt, there's like a few stitches like a red and green and blue, like individual stitches on there. And now that I'm touching it, it's not as tight as I had wished it was, but what the heck. This is my first effort at doing this, and it's, it came out better than I hoped it would. And so I finished stitching the angels for my mother on the dish towel. So this is how it came out finally. That's cute. Their eyes are a little wonky. I'm not the best at French knots. I just learned how, because I watched the tutorial, how to do colonial knots, and I think I like them better than French knots, but I'm still learning, so I'm still not good. I showed you this the last time. This is the Santas that I did for my sister. And I washed and pressed these towels, so they're all ready to go to wrap for Christmas. And this is for my other sister, the snowman, from my older sister. And I think I had shown you these little squares, but I attached little strings on the back to hang them. That's for my nephew, and this is for my older sister, Ryan Groot. And little strings. The one thing I did on these is that I put nails in the wooden frames. These little, they're not really nails, they're like little tack things. And they tended to split the wood. So I had to glue them. And this one I did for my older sister. I was looking at the video that I did of it, and you can't really see. There's green around it. I don't know if you can really see that. The lighting in here is not great. Let me try something. Oh, this is, oops. What makes it worse? It makes it worse, probably. There, now you can see the green. Green, you can see a lot of glare, but you can see the green now here. And then I did this for my nephew, my other nephew. That's a truck. The light back up where it was. There's a Chevy logo, and you still can't see in the video. Right up at the top, you can barely see it. 1918 to 2018. Block Ada. But I again, I attached the little strings on the back. So I put a little dab of glue to help the frames stay together, whatever. I talked about, oh yeah, I did this for my niece, and I put the string in the back, so it's, these things are all done now. And, if I can find it, what did I do? Well, poopy heads. Just a minute. I'm back? Okay. I talked about, I had not started yet the bookmark for my friend, and I since did it and finished it. It's a Eiffel Tower, and this is French for the Eiffel Tower, and a little I can't say it, fleur-de-lis. And my initials and the date here. And a simple border. I had done the Eiffel Tower, and then I debated about putting anything else on there. Because it had, like, there was this big old blank space above and below it. And so I was looking on Pinterest and Etsy and everything else. And I finally, I sort of cobbled together this idea of a design from other cross-stitch designs that I saw, but then also just to see what a fleur-de-lis looks like. And so I experimented with making it longer and wider, narrower, taller, something, and this is what I finally came up with. And then I saw the words on some other, it was a design of like a bunch of French stuff, and it said Le Tour, I don't know how you say that, Eiffel, how the French say it, but and I since I don't speak French really, I wondered if that was how you say the Eiffel Tower in French, and so I just looked it up on Wikipedia, whatever, and sure enough, that's how you say it. So I have an alphabet book, kind of, so I just picked an alphabet and wrote that. So I'm actually kind of pleased with how it came out. And the other thing I did, I was going to just buy something for, I have one aunt and one cousin that I usually have on my list. I have a lot of aunts and a lot of cousins, a lot of uncles, a lot of aunts, a lot of cousins. As a matter of fact, one time I was watching the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I've seen it several times, but I had it on the television one time back several years ago when I lived in Little Rock. And there's a scene in there where she talks about how she has she talked about how she has like 25 first cousins or something like that. And I remember thinking to myself, I think I have her beat. And so I started counting all the cousins, all my first cousins on my mom's side and my dad's side. Not counting my siblings, just my cousins. I came up with 42, I think. I think 40 on one side and 42 on the other, or something like that. Because both of my parents came from There's my cat, Puck. There's Puck. And Snug is over there making noise. Um, but so both of my parents came from larger families, and both had a lot of siblings, and almost all my aunts and uncles had, at least one kid. Some of them had 5, 6. Many of them had 2 to 4, So I ended up with 40-something cousins. And I don't know how many of those cousins had kids themselves, by now and whatever. So I could run over somebody on the street and not know I was related to them. As a matter of fact, my... Stop, Bubba. My older sister and I and my brother have stories about relatives that we've met under other circumstances that we didn't know we were related to. My brother has been involved in the sort of music community in Albuquerque since he was a teenager, since he was in high school. And he's played with various bands and done freelance stuff and done sound equipment rentals and stuff like that and setups and stuff. And so he met a young man named Rudy, and in this music world, and they knew each other, and one day my brother was at a funeral for one of my cousins, and he saw Rudy, and so they were saying, "Oh, hi, how are you?" Catching up, and so my brother said, "So what are you doing here at this funeral home?" And Rudy said, "Well, Butch, the young man that was having the funeral, Butch was my cousin. What are you doing here?" And my brother said, "Butch is my cousin. What are you doing?" And they found out Rudy is the son of one of my cousins. So Butch was, I guess, his second cousin, or whatever. But and first cousins with us. So yeah, so my brother knew Rudy, but didn't know he was related to him. And my older sister and I, when we were in junior high, met one of my dad's cousins. He was young. He was like older than us, but I think a teenager or whatever. One of the counselors at this camp, and we had gone all week, knowing him as a counselor, but not realizing we were related to him. And we found out like the last night of camp or whatever that my dad saw him there. Came after the camp and saw us and told us we were related to him. It was my dad's cousin, who is actually an assistant district attorney in New Mexico now. But anyway, and then my older sister was working in the nursery department of the church she was a member of back in Albuquerque, and met a young lady there, and that lady had a son that was the same age as my older sister's son. So she knew her at church, and the kids did stuff together and everything else. And they went one Sunday. One Christmas season, they went to the kids sang, and so my mom went as a grandmother. She went to hear him, and this little boy's grandmother went. And there at the church, the grandmas met, and they're like, "Oh, hi, how are you? How's the family? Blah, blah, blah." And Eve and this little boy's mother, whose name I cannot remember, they were like, "How do you know each other?" And it turns out, this lady was related to my dad's side of the family, through marriage and everything. So this girl was like, I don't know, second cousins or something like that to my sister, to me too. But yeah, so anyway, so Anyway, one of my aunts, my mom's sister, my Aunt Mary Lou, I typically get her something for Christmas and everything. But I found out just recently that she's actually coming down here with my mom and dad, I think. But she's coming down here for Christmas. So, because we're doing Christmas here in Phoenix. So anyway, I had not really thought too much about what I was going to get her for Christmas, but I decided, well, you know what, I can whip up something real quick on on one of these little frame things. And so I came up with this. I found this little cat with cactus. It was in a magazine that I had, and my aunt likes cats, and so I did this kitty. And actually, it was charted as a gray kitty with, I don't know if you can see it, green eyes, little green eyes, and it had in the chart it had a pink nose and black whiskers, and it was all gray. But because Puck and the two cats I had before Puck, Hotspur and Cyrano, there's a cat here on the picture, were tuxedo cats, with a white bib and white paws, and Cyrano had white on his face. Puck doesn't really, and Hotspur didn't. And so they had black noses, and white whiskers. So this kitty has a little white bib, and white paws, and white whiskers. Here are my attempts at colonial knots, and some are better than others, but but they were very easy to do, much easier than. Well, I don't know if they're much easier than French knots, but they're, So I have to glue, I want to put a piece of jute on the back. It's a jute Christmas, sorry. Everybody's getting jute hangers on the back. But I think I'm just going to glue it instead of trying to hammer it. For one thing, it was very awkward to try to get a nail in this wooden frame. It's probably more... In a way, it was more secure than just gluing it, but I'm not going to do that again. That was an ordeal. And then my cousin Judy is a cousin that I've gotten Christmas presents for. So I'm working on. This is my one WIP left. It's a deer, or you can tell. That's his head, is his antlers. I mean, his ears. His antlers are going to go up here, and there's. It's kind of a Christmas scene. I don't want to show the pattern so much, but I don't think I have a picture of it. It was also in a magazine and part of a larger sampler or sort of Christmas thing. But I'm doing just the deer section. So there's the deer. I'm just going to flash it real quick. But it has, Christmas trees and a little bird and moon and stars. But seems like it's going to be a pretty quick stitch, so hopefully I can get this done before in the next couple of days, and then thank God I'll be done with that, with all the Christmas stitching, and I can go on to something else. Anyway, so I wanted to get that out there because in the next few days are going to be a little bit crazy around here. My older sister is having knee surgery tomorrow in the very early morning. And so, she'll be home for the next several days. And then we have company for Christmas. My parents and my aunt are coming down here on the 21st, I guess. And so I don't know if I mentioned before that... that my parents are retiring down, or are moving down here. They're retired already. My mother is a retired school teacher, and my father is retired from the government. He used to work. He used to do. He got it. He was actually on sort of the ground floor of computers. I remember when I was a kid, my dad was a programmer and then a systems analyst for the government in their what used to be the Atomic Energy Commission. That's Snug, meowing at the door. But I remember, we used to go. They used to have open houses or whatever there every once in a while, and we went down there, and they had the computers would take up a whole room, and we used to get these punch cards. My dad would bring home a stack of them, and we would make I think we made a Christmas star decoration thing out of punch cards one year. But anyway, so yeah. So anyway, they have been retired, and they're moving down here as soon as ever they can, I guess. As soon as the house in Albuquerque sells, they're gonna move down here to Phoenix. And my older sister and I are gonna live with my mom and dad. And we still haven't worked out the logistics of how all that's going to happen, or where we're going to live, or what house we're going to buy. That's one thing that my parents are going to do, are doing, and are in the process of doing, of looking at houses and deciding where we're going to live. I don't know what Snug's problem is, but anyway, so yeah. So the next few days are going to be a little crazy. And then, with the holidays and everything else, so I wanted to get this video done now while I have a little peace and quiet, apart from the cats. So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm getting the last of my Christmas projects done, and then I showed you last time the elephant that I was working on, and it's almost done. And then I'd figure out what to do with it to finish it. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I think I might frame it. I haven't decided yet. But I'll probably frame it somehow. I don't know. Cats. So then I'm planning on trying to chart this hymn that I've been thinking about. My Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. I mentioned it the last time, I think. I have a few ideas. I've been sort of, doing some drawings about, what I want to put on there, and looking at some of the patterns that are, people have been talking about, to get some ideas. I kind of want to draw some little sheep, but I want to make them pretty small, so I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do that, or if I'm going to do that. I haven't decided. Like I said, I've done a few little drawings of a few things that I want to include in this design, and I don't know how large it's going to be or whatever. So anyway, I also want to talk about where I do my stitching. Sometimes I sit in this chair. It's a big armchair. I got it at IKEA. There's a little ottoman that goes with it, and it's really a very comfy chair. But the problem is that here in this chair, I have to it's kind of an ordeal to get up and down from the chair. It's hard for me personally, just because of the stroke that I had and everything else that it's so and then I have to bring all my cross stitch stuff here, and there isn't a really good place to plug my phone and my tablet in if I'm doing that for entertainment. It's right across from my television here in my room, and so I can watch TV, you know. But then I have to bring the remote over here too, and you know, it's really not because most of the time all of those things are by my bed, and so it's just easier to sit there and lie down in my bed and cross stitch in my bed. So my bed is where I do most of the stuff, most of my cross stitching and everything else. And my phone is there, and my tablet, you know, are there. I have them plugged in there and everything else. So most of my cross stitching is done in my bed, and I want to use this chair more often for that sort of thing. But you know, I just haven't. I just don't because I'm kind of lazy about it and all that. But anyway, so the chair's comfy, and the light is better actually because see this light up here. I bought I bought this lamp a couple of months ago, I guess, and this light right here is like a spotlight kind of thing. It's very bright, and it's on a gooseneck, you know, and it's intended to be like a reading lamp or whatever. But it's very bright, and so ordinarily this lamp is kind of behind this chair a little bit, and I can aim the spotlight down on the chair, and it's very bright, and it illuminates my stitching very well, and you know, I like it a lot. There's Puck again, but it's difficult to like I said, to move all my stuff over. It's not really difficult. It's just that I'm lazy and it's easier to stitch in bed. Sorry, but there on my bed I have a little spotlight thing. It's a reading lamp also, you know, and so it's aimed at the bed, and I use that all the time. But sorry, I was looking up at the lamp. There's Pucky. There's Puckabee. Come here, Pucky. Come here. Let me see if I can get him to... I can't get him to cooperate. Come here. Come here. Puck. Puck. Come here. Come here. Come here. He's not coming over here. Let me see if I can get him. Okay, come here. This is Puck. Oh, sorry. It's slapping me. This is Puck. He's very mad. You can see his black face. I don't know if you can see his. He has one white whisker right here over his eye. His exclamation point. He's very mad because I'm holding him. Ordinarily, he a few minutes ago, before I started this video, he was climbing all over me and wanted me to hold him. And then, you know, he's my moody, ornery cat. Sometimes he wants to be held. Sometimes it's like, you know, holding him is like death, you know. And he'll scratch you and everything else. So, you know. Snug likes to, as his name suggests, snuggle up to me, lie down on me, climb all over everything. For some reason, he's like a Sherman tank. He knocks everything down. He's not like a typical cat who, like Puck, can wend his way around everything and not knock anything down. Snug knocks everything down. And, he's just someday I can't, it's hard for me to pick him up. Or just now he was in the house and getting into things he's not supposed to get into, and I carried him back into the room, and he weighs a ton. He weighs a ton. Come here, Snug. Come here, Snug. Yes. He likes to be held. He wants to be held. Or petted. Come here. Come here. But he weighs a ton. Ugh. Here's my kitty. Here's Snuggle. He's very pretty. He's very naughty. Okay, that's enough. All right, so I blathered on long enough, and I probably will not get around to doing a video before the new year. So Merry Christmas to everybody, and Happy New Year. And I'll probably see you hopefully in the new year. And Oh, one thing I want to mention was, now I live down in Phoenix, and in the I'm all into segment that I didn't mention was that one of the things I wanted to mention was maybe things I miss, um, and that is snow. You know, uh, uh, Teresa mentioned in the songs that she likes, and that she liked White Christmas, and I'm sorry, my cat is doing something crazy. Um, Give me this, please. And uh, White Christmas it's a movie I watched it actually about 3 times. It's been on recently, um, but one of the things that I miss is snow. I used to live in Little Rock. I mentioned that I lived in Little Rock for 25 years, and it doesn't snow that often in Little Rock. It's kind of like right on the cusp of we tend to get more. We get tornadoes. We would get tornadoes and more like ice storms there, and but it would usually snow at least once or twice a year. And I didn't like driving home in the snow. There were a couple of times when it was really it was horrible between Little Rock and Albuquerque. Uh, there were times when the interstate was closed. There were uh, or it would start snowing while I was driving, or there was ice on the road, or whatever. But and then there were times when it snowed in Albuquerque, which is wonderful. Albuquerque is it's it's more or less in the same latitude as Little Rock. It's a little higher, a little further up, I think, but the altitude is much higher. It's like a mile above sea level in Albuquerque, and people don't think about that. About people think of it as a desert, but it's and it is sort of the desert Southwest in the sense that it's drier out there. It doesn't rain very often, but it does get snow probably once a year or so. Um, so, but we would get a White Christmas every now and then. More often, would snow in like January or something like that. But I think last year, I mean not last year, 2 years ago when we were there in Albuquerque, it snowed. Um, uh, we were trying to find some recent pictures of Albuquerque for my mom, since they're getting ready to sell a house. Um, and the last Christmas we were there, I think it snowed a lot, and I had these some recent pictures of the snow there, in our neighborhood, and now I live in Phoenix, and it doesn't really snow at all. We had a big rainstorm here over the weekend, Saturday night, I think. It rained a lot, and it's very rare. It doesn't snow down here in Phoenix. It snows like in Flagstaff and other areas, other parts of Arizona, but not in Phoenix. In Phoenix, it's gotten kind of it's gotten colder here. Of course, it's like it might be in the 40s at night. Cats are trying to kill each other. It might be in the 40s at night. Maybe the 60s in the morning. It gets up. Ow! Sorry, there are cats attacking me. Well, attacking each other. I'm just in the way. Um, Sorry about that. But anyway, so yeah, it doesn't snow down here, and I find myself really missing, the 4 seasons that that I had before in even just in Albuquerque. My dad would probably love it because he likes warm weather or whatever. He likes to be warm. He likes it hot. I don't know how my mother will feel about it. I don't know. I think she liked the snow, just in terms of enjoying the weather and all stuff like that. But anyway, so that's something that I miss. I miss the snow a lot. I don't miss driving in it, but I miss having it around. We used to go up to the mountains to cut a tree for Christmas when I was a kid, and that's kind of not something we're going to be doing. And as we've gotten older, we haven't really done that. But anyway, that's something that I miss. But so along those, as I was saying before, Merry Christmas to everybody, and Happy New Year. And I will probably see you in the new year. I hope to continue doing this, and hopefully I'll keep you apprised of how things are coming as far as that sampler idea is coming. And I'm sure I'll find something else to work on. As a matter of fact, I have 2 or 3 things in mind to work on already for the new year. So, all right. So thanks for watching. Thanks. I'm Beth. Again, I'm Beth Martinez. Phantastitches is the name of my YouTube channel. And I did find Stitch Mania as a group on Facebook, along with a couple of other cross-stitch groups. And so I've posted a few things. I think I posted all these pictures in Stitch Mania. But anyway, so again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Those few of you that have subscribed so far, thanks for that. And thanks for the viewers that I've had. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.